the single just now.
Oh no! Son of a bitch.
You get your two?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we're going to take a look at a few replays, and the first one we're looking at is in the old Donskoi. Yes, and you can see we're grouped up with Dorj and Paladin today. Now, I'm really actually enjoying these Russian cruisers. I know I've talked about it before, but they are pretty amazing. Now, the power of the Russian cruisers, maybe it is a little, a little bias. Wargaming might be a little biased towards the Russians, because it's something else. I mean, it is really, really a great ship. It's the Donskoi especially. I mean, the whole line, for me anyway, the whole line starting at the Budyani, I really, really enjoyed. Not that I didn't enjoy the Kirov at Tier 5. The Kirov is a great ship as well at Tier 5. It just doesn't play like a typical Russian cruiser, and that's because of the guns on the Kirov. They're just not as rapid firing as the rest are. Now, the guns on the Kirov are actually the same as the guns here on the Donskoi, I do believe, anyway. The big difference, of course, is that the Donskoi is Tier 9, so we're not hampered by as bad of a reload and turret traverse, so that's not too bad at all. We're on Okinawa. Now, Okinawa is always an interesting map to play, right? And it's because of the island placements around A. It really makes an interesting place to go and take. I mean, if you go to A in a large ship, you essentially have to push beyond A, like push all the way through A, circle around to get out of there, because that island there is not going to give you really good shots, or really great shots anyway, against the enemy, and you're going to find yourself pretty much stuck up there and with not a whole lot to do, so do want to avoid that. Some enemies start popping up in the distance, and obviously we do have some, other tier 9s here in the game as well, so I'm going to need to be careful. We can see the Izumo there off in the distance, right? And the Izumo, love it or hate it, she still has good guns on her, and can easily one-shot me from any range, so I do want to keep this in mind as well. Benefit here, of course, is that in the division we've got Dorj and Paladin, and they're both in Fletchers, so this is fantastic, and it presents a great situation for myself in the Donskoi here, because, essentially I can have those guys out front, scouting and capping, and myself in the background supporting them with HE fire, right? And that's the whole idea here as well with the Donskoi at range anyways. It's all about the high explosive, raining those in, setting fires. Now, that's not to say, though, that the armor piercing on the Donskoi isn't good. The armor piercing on the Donskoi is fantastic, and especially cruisers that decide to sail broadside to you, they will learn how fantastic this armor piercing really is. So there's that as well. I mean, and because of the quick reload, classic cruiser move, you can just switch between your ammo types fairly easily, as long as you're recognizing situations, that's most advantageous to do that. Although sometimes, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm good at switching ammo type, because I'm really not. But, situations do arise where, yeah, I did forget to switch over to armor piercing against a cruiser that's broadside, maybe like 8 kilometers away from me, and I continue to pump the high explosive into the player, but I'm still doing really good damage, like 48 to 5200 damage a salvo, or salvo, so that's not too bad at all. Moving around, we can start seeing more of the enemy pop up, right? And we really do note that the enemy has a pretty strong hold over the southern point. However, A, which the enemy also does have, we are currently contesting A, so there is the possibility there of us being able to move in and cap A, which is always interesting to see, right? Because you don't, on this map, you don't expect A to be one of the critical point. I usually expect the southern point to be the critical point generally. A is usually that point that, if no one has it, I'm going to go in there and take it, or things aren't going out so well, so let's go see what's happening at A type thing. But do keep in mind as well, even in these random battles, you don't have to freak out necessarily about not having caps, right? It is about dealing damage and getting ships down, getting enemy ships burnt down, or, well, in my case, burnt down, but getting enemy ships sunk, right? This is really going to help, and it's going to lead to the capture of the points as well, so it is something you do want to keep in mind. And I mean, all of that does again play into the whole idea of your hit point conservation, keeping your situational awareness, and making sure that you are not just going in there and dying, which is never too great. Had a battle last night actually in the Fuso. Yeah, I just went straight forward and died. It was it's great. Continue to fire in on the Izumo there off in the distance. The Izumo really got the poor end of the stick here. Well, at least some of the other battleships are going to as well. Because I mean, I've got some great range again on the Donskoi. What is it's like 20.8 or something like that. I mean, I can really reach out there and fire in some high explosives and just keep that going. The arc of the Russian cruisers as well. The firing arc is not as high and pronounced as the Americans, so it doesn't take, or at least for me, I don't find it as bad to get used to. Like I'm fairly used to it now anyway, and can pretty much get my shots to land where I want them to go more often than not. I'm generally I'm not gonna say that I can do it all the time. We just saw a few shots go right over the bow of the North Carolina, for example. Oh, and I get lucky there with the one fire. But still, yeah, I mean, the firing arc is definitely not as high as the American, so it does provide for a flatter and easier time to actually land shots and range shots in on enemy ships, which is really, really good, because you can see so far this battle, right, I'm only at about 43,000 damage. I haven't necessarily done a whole lot, but what I have done is, you know, spread out damage to the enemies here. Keep these guys as best as I can, keep them on fire, and just keep burning them down and racking up the damage that way. And that's generally how you're going to get your damage in the Russian cruisers. And, you know, to be really effective at that, you need to survive. You have to figure out how to survive in the Russian cruiser in order to, you know, start racking up the damage over time like this. It is pretty crucial. We have the enemy destroyer here off on our bow, and yes, I definitely did pop my radar there. I didn't want to lose sight of the enemy destroyer, right, and radar goes down and we lose sight instantly of the destroyer, so that kind of sucks. Put the last few shots in there, get some minor hits there as well, so that's not too bad. Now in the meantime, my allies haven't just been sitting around. In the south, you can see that we've actually managed to take the C zone, which is fantastic. Really, really good that we're able to take that, because you can see at A, right, it's still sort of stalemated. I mean, you can see again, the enemies who are at A are more or less stuck in A at this point in time. You know, we have some allies on the other side, so if the enemies do try to push through, the allies will get them. So, you know, even if they circle back now, myself and my ally Turpits there behind me, we're in position to actually be able to start firing in on these enemies. So we're still firing in on the Izumo when we can, right? If no one else is available, we'll start firing at the Izumo, because the Izumo basically has been in our range since the entire game here, and I'm just trying to be a nuisance to this player right now, just to set the player on fire, make the player pop his repair, maybe even the heal ability, depending on how much damage I do over time, so that when my battleships start focusing the player down, you know, they'll have an easier time anyway. That's really the idea of, you know, the cruiser, right? You're playing a supporting role to really everything that you can find. Just support it. It's fairly easy. At least I find it's easy. Shots go into the Izumo. We're not getting any damage on the Izumo, but you can see that we are taking down some anti-aircraft guns and whatnot. So, I mean, I guess that's good. It's that much, you know, less effective AA that our carrier is going to have to worry about, which isn't too bad. But I really do want to get a fire going on this player. You can see I'm circling. I do ram the Turpits, and actually the Turpits, by ramming the Turpits like that, it was totally my fault, not to justify it, but it meant I didn't ground myself, which is fantastic. And then finally we get some shots in on the Izumo, and we finally managed to set a fire. Now the Izumo has some shots coming in on me here, and unfortunately for me, I am in a turn and I can't turn the other way because of the island there. So shots come in and they do a bit of damage to me here, right? So like I say, the Izumo can really one-shot. Any ship can really one-shot this Donskoi. You have to be incredibly careful, and it's usually in these well, I mean, the battle is sort of nearing middle to end, right? We've got quite a few points. Not well, a lot of the enemies are sunk and dying at this point in time. So it's really, this mid to late game where the Donskoi weaknesses really do start to show, because mid to late the ranges are usually closer, and the closer in you get with the Donskoi, the more susceptible it is to being taken out by larger ships. So you do really need to watch this. And still, I'm trying to maneuver here, but I can't get. I don't want to sail sail at the Azuma and close the distance. That wouldn't be great. But at the same time, I don't want to sail broadside because that could kill me. But I can't turn because I've got the island here on the port side of the ship. So I'm really just gonna have to get lucky. And that's essentially what I'm hoping for here as well, right? I've stopped firing at the Azuma, I'm ignoring him, hopefully the player will start ignoring me as well, and then I can start focusing in on some of these other enemies that are coming through A. So these are the enemies who essentially, got fed up at A and have decided to finally push through A. Now, unfortunately for them, they do have quite a few of my allies to deal with. Now, you'll notice I have the armor piercing loaded up. We can see the enemy cruiser there. What is it? Baltimore? I'm not sure. Des Moines, whatever. 2 citadels and the cruiser is gone. So fantastic. I mean, you can see right there what I was talking about in terms of the armor piercing. There is nothing wrong with the armor piercing on the Donskoi. It is also quite good. However, it's not going to be so great at range against larger targets. You do really want to have your high explosive loaded up for those targets specifically. We have another enemy destroyer popping up here, so we're going to try and take down this enemy destroyer. You'll notice on the minimap, Dorge and Paladin are still going, and I do want to try and help them out in whatever capacity I possibly can, and by taking down one of the enemy destroyers, that's going to be a pretty big help. It's not necessarily, what is it? It's a Japanese destroyer regardless, so, it's not too big of a threat to the Fletchers, but still, want to try and support them. Now, we do see, I think it's Paladin there in front of me, who's being engaged by that enemy destroyer, and unfortunately, I sort of dropped the ball here. I wasn't paying attention too much. I was just like, oh, Paladin's got him. And Paladin's health is quickly going down because the Japanese destroyer captain is no slouch, right? He's actually taking it to Paladin here pretty good. So I'm going to try, or well, I wish I would have tried to actually support him a little more. Instead of getting all focused on this enemy battleship off in the distance. I'm doing a bit of damage to the enemy battleship though, so there's that. But there we go. You can see the enemy destroyer did manage to take down Paladin, so that is not so great. But I believe that we did end up taking, or no, enemy destroyer is still alive. So we're going to have to do something about this guy now. Better late than never, I suppose, although if Paladin's watching, I'm sure he'd say something different. But whatever. At least with, as we know, the new patch came out, and we have some economy changes in game, so at least now you know the flat cost of what it is to take your ship out, right? So it would have cost you that amount regardless. Even if you had died or not, you would still end up paying the maintenance cost, so there's that as well. Last enemy ship remaining, it's the last enemy destroyer. You can see that we're almost capped out for points here, so probably not going to get the opportunity to take the player down, but still, not a bad battle at all. Almost 100,000 damage, which is really great, actually. There's nothing wrong with doing 100,000 damage in any ship you're playing in, really. So victory is ours overall. 230,000 credits is what we end up earning in the battle. 96,000 damage dealt, which isn't too bad. Overall, I am 3rd overall, which, again, not too bad at all. And we do see, how some of the other team managed to do as well. We can see one of their battleships didn't do too bad at all. Did get quite a bit of damage dealt across a number of ships, just not enough for the old Confederate medal, though. When all is said and done, 65,000 credits is what I end up walking away with. And I think it's about, excuse me, about 180,000 is the standard fixed cost now for a Tier 9. Well, Tier 9 cruiser, anyway. Anyway, moving into our next clip, we are in the Bliss, and man, this destroyer is fantastic. I do really enjoy it, and thank you again, Bad Panda. It is quite amazing. You can see as well, we are grouped up with Sabine and Invert on Trident here. Now, Trident is also another interesting map. Sort of mid-tier map. I do enjoy it, though. I think it offers some interesting possibilities, especially with the island chains over there at A. But you do need to be careful, right? Because you can get lulled into a false sense of security over there at A behind those islands and use them as cover, but end up staying there and not actually pushing anymore, which can be detrimental. In the old Bliss, I mean, where I recently got this, I don't have advanced firing training on the captain as of yet. I do know that once I get advanced firing training, it's going to bring this to another level, which I cannot wait for, to be quite honest with you. So I've been playing it a lot, running the dragon flags on her, right, to try and get up there. I think I've only need maybe 2 more points or something like that. I'm pretty close, but anyway, in the Bliss. Great destroyer, and we also have word of the Leningrad coming out shortly as well, and I understand the Leningrad is basically an upped version of the Gremioshki, potentially, with, you know, really rapid-firing cannons, maybe some slower traverse, so it might give the Bliss a run for her money, but I don't know. I think the Bliss is really something else. So what we're going to try and do, at least what my original plan here was anyway, is to just sort of scout out B a little. I wasn't going to actually try and go into B, but I was just going to scout out around it. You can see we do have some enemy destroyer pop up here, so I am immediately going to engage this person, because also on the minimap you'll notice that I'm turning right to go back into cover, so I felt pretty confident that, you know, I'm just going to be able to break line of sight here and go back to unseen, so that's not too bad at all. Now the Bliss, I know we don't talk about it often, but the AA on the Bliss isn't actually too bad at all for a destroyer. It's nice. I mean, it's there if you need it, especially if you get one of those annoying CV captains who insist on maintaining an enemy air squadron over you. Yeah, those captains. So it can be a little annoying, but at the very least we have some decent AA on the ship, you know, to kind of make up for. So we see the enemy, what is it? It's a Russian cruiser. I think it's a Chapiev. I'm not sure though. Maybe a Shores. But anyway, the enemy cruiser there. We put some shots into the enemy cruiser, and the enemy cruiser's quickly going into cover, which makes sense. Russian cruisers do not excel at close range combat, especially at the beginning of the battle like this. I'm still trying to get this enemy destroyer down though, and you can see again I am being spotted here, but I'm not too concerned of it as of yet, because I'm judging it based on, you know, right now anyway, on the incoming fire that I'm receiving, and I'm not receiving any incoming fire. So if we look at the minimap, we'll see that that is because there are a lot of allies behind me, right? So it makes it a little easier, a little less concerning. Now we do start seeing incoming fire from an Atlanta. Now the Atlanta is deadly to destroy, so yeah, need to run away now. I can't keep fighting this Atlanta. Now within the division, Sabim obviously is in the sim, so this is great. We'll have another destroyer to run around with, and then Invert in tier 7 I believe is in a York, not 100% sure on that, but still. We have cruiser support as well, so that is not too bad either. Now our team has managed to take the C cap zone, which is great considering that we're also getting in there on A, but it's B that I really wanted to focus on myself, because B, you know, the center cap is always going to be a critical point on the map. It just always is. I mean, well, not... it is always a critical point on every map, but there are definitely certain maps where there are also other points that it would be debatable that those points would be, you know, maybe a little more critical than the center one. But anyway, B is important. So we can see that the enemies do seem to be pushed out. I mean, we do have the enemy Chapiev over there as well that we may have to deal with, but I am capping the point, which is pretty great. I also see the enemy aircraft carrier, and for whatever reason the enemy aircraft carrier is sitting behind this island, and it's a little strange, it's puzzling. So I am going to line up some torpedoes. You can see I did lose sight of the enemy aircraft carrier, but I know the enemy aircraft carrier is going to be coming around there shortly, so I'll just go ahead and launch both torpedo spreads and hope that they end up hitting the enemy aircraft carrier, take the player down. Still capping the point here, we can see an enemy destroyer has popped up, so we're going to try and engage this player instantly as well. It's important to note here, Sabim is also engaging this enemy destroyer as well, so this is great. We're both going to try and focus down this player and maybe get the kill on him as well. You can see, I believe the enemy player took a torpedo there. My torpedoes go in, take out the enemy Independence. I believe that was their carrier, and goes down. I put some final shots into the enemy destroyer, take that player down, and get a double strike. So that's not too bad at all. I wanted to go for the triple strike there on the Chapiev, but it wasn't meant to be. Well, I know there's no triple strike achievement in game, but still, for my own knowledge, it would have been great. We can see that we continue to hold, or at least contest the B cap here, and we are coming under attack from the air, but I'll just continue maneuvering around. It hasn't been too bad as of yet. I don't think I've actually taken any damage as of yet, so I'm going to continue to, take an aggressive posture here. Now my team is still focused on A, and it does look like they're in a position to start getting in there and capping it once again, which is fantastic. The majority of the enemy team, it does seem as though the majority of the enemy team is over here on the west side, coming out of the C cap zone, right? Because that's where, some of them were focused anyway. So we were putting shots into the Warspite. I'm going to launch off some more torpedoes in hopes that those torpedoes also hit their mark and maybe take out another enemy ship. That would be fantastic. So we have the enemy Atlanta coming across, and the enemy Atlanta spotted the torpedoes and is instantly in the turn, right? So those torpedoes aren't going to hit, but I did set the Atlanta on fire, so that's decent. Because again, in a gunboat destroyer like the Bliss here, you do want to set people on fire. Actually, speaking about other changes, they did add the national voices now for the Polish and French captains. And I had to go back and think about it, because there was someone on the channel who asked me if the Dunkirk had the French national voice, and that was a few weeks ago, and I said, yeah, they definitely do. Every time I was playing the and it wasn't until yesterday I realized this when it actually did speak to French in me, but every time I was going into battle of Dunkirk, in my mind it was just like saying it, like it was just saying it in French, and I always thought that no, they're saying it in French, but it was me saying it to myself, as crazy as that sounds. But it wasn't until it actually spoke French to me that I was like, oh, what is this? What's going on? And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, that's right. They were never actually in the game before, so a little crazy. Anyway, we continue to put pressure and hold on to B here as well, right? I'm going to pop my smoke here because we do have the enemy Warspite very interested in me. Another enemy destroyer pops up, and we're going to switch over to this enemy destroyer because, yeah, obviously we need to take the player down. As soon as you spot an enemy destroyer, it pretty much needs to die. It's pretty important. Especially when you're in another destroyer, and the Bliss like this, coming against a Japanese destroyer, right? The Japanese destroyer is at a pretty big disadvantage in terms of guns. Overall torpedoes, though, yeah, no question. Anyway, we continue to use the island here as cover, hiding in our smoke, and we're going to try and line up some more torpedoes here, because you can see that maybe the enemies have forgotten about me, but I do have some enemies who are pretty close range to me, and if I can use this to my advantage, maybe get in there and get off some sneaky torpedoes, I might be able to take someone else down, which would be great for the team as well. We have a pretty secure lead on, or a pretty secure hold on A and B at this point in time. A looks to be locked down more or less, and B, I mean, the enemy is putting pressure on B, but they're not actually managing to get into the cap zone, which is fantastic. And basically, this opens up the opportunity for me to just, once again, circle around and continue to harass the enemy. And that was my phone. I do apologize. It scared the hell out of me as well. So we'll just throw that over there. Torpedoes are on the way for the enemy Atlanta, and I'm really hoping that these torpedoes are going to take down this enemy Atlanta, because I really do want the player to go down. Also, the enemy Atlanta is firing in on me. You can see racking up quite a bit of damage, right? And it really does illustrate the point. I mean, the Atlantas are deadly to destroyers. Deadly. Like, if you see one, it's either run away or hopefully you're in an ambush position to take it down. Otherwise, it's going to kill you. It is just going to happen. So anyway, we do hit the Atlanta with the one torpedo there, and we managed the kill as well, which is not too shabby at all. The enemies really only have, 4 battleships and 1 destroyer remaining, so not too bad at all. We should be able to continue to harass these enemies and maybe even burn some more down down, rack up some more damage, because that's what I'm looking to do. There is another torpedo hit on an enemy. I'm not even sure where or who I was firing at, but fantastic, I said. That is great. We see another enemy battleship off in the distance sailing broadside on, I believe it's a turbot, so we are going to try and set the player on fire here. And in fact, in our first round, we do end up setting the turbots on fire, which is great. Now, one thing on the Bliss, I mean, I would like to get Demolition Expert, obviously, on the Bliss, but it is going to be advanced firing training. But maybe once the captain, you know, gets the Concealment Expert, maybe that'll be the next thing I go for, if possible. Although getting that 19th captain point is really something else, because what is it, like 10 million experience or something that it requires? It is something else. So maybe getting 19 point captain is a little ambitious, but whatever. Continue to fire in on the enemy turbots off in the distance. We're going to try and set some more fires to the player. We know the player has used the repair because obviously you put out the fire, right? But the enemy turbots does move at a range. We have this enemy Texas here, however, that I can continue to fire in on and maybe set a few more fires, rack up a bit more damage before battle ends. Fantastic. There's another fire, and it continues to burn, so we know that the enemy Texas doesn't have the access to the old repair ability here, so that fire should burn for a little bit of time here, and hopefully will result in the death of, well, it probably won't result in the death of the Texas, will it? But hopefully will result in more damage for me. There's a second fire to the enemy Texas as well, which is fantastic. We just need to keep up the fire here. We can see that my team is quickly wrapping this one up at 977 points. Enemy Texas puts out all the fires, so we know that you know, repair was just used here, sitting on about half health there as well. We might be able to finish off the player. We can see myself and Sabine are pelting this guy with as much HE as we possibly can, hoping just to set the one last fire, and there we go. Battle is over. Victory is ours, which wasn't too bad at all. Yeah, it was a fairly good game in the old Bliss. I mean, the Bliss, it's not too surprising, actually, that, that this happened. She's amazing. Just an amazing destroyer. 431,000 credits earned, 106,000 damage done. Top of the team overall, Sabine was a close second there as well, so first and second, which is not too bad at all. In terms of damage breakdown, yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, most of the damage did come from killing of that enemy Independence, and again, I have no idea what that player was thinking, but whatever. What is it? 380,000 credits is what I do end up walking away with, and about 17,000 commander experience with the Dragon Flag on, which, hooray. Shortly, I should have the advanced firing training, which will be amazing. More stealth firing. Anyway, that is today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Remember to hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.